This episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Roosport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Roosport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroosport.com and take a look at their products, sizes, and colors and find the Roosport pouch that's right for you. That's theroosport.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sideline Warning, the show where sports takes are sure to go way too far into the field. Here to recap this week's biggest and best sports stories are your hosts, Dave Adams, Ben Foster, and Adam Russell.
And welcome into Sideline Warning, everybody. This is episode 30. We are the big 3-0 now, guys. I think that we're catching up with my age. We've caught up with Ben's age, I think.
Almost.
Almost. Hey, I didn't bring you in yet.
You mentioned me.
But I didn't say you're from Birmingham.
I'm in. Well, we'll say it now.
Okay, well, first off, I have to introduce myself.
Who are you?
The golden voice of the South.
No, who
Dave
are you
Adams.
really? Who are you really?
This show is already off the rails.
We're off to a great start. This is going to be splendiferous.
Brought in all early from Birmingham, Alabama, Mr. Ben Foster. Hi, Ben.
It's me.
And also, all the way down, thank you for waiting, House of Mouse, St. Cloud, Orlando, Orange County, Dr. Phillips, Winter Garden, around Tampa area, near Port Canaveral, Adam Russell. You're muted, Adam. You're muted.
I'm not muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I heard you now.
I was not muted. I don't know. Anyway.
This show's off the
my
rails.
Intro. All right, we're on a roll, guys. Keep it going.
Adam, why are you wearing a Dodgers cap?
Because I'm cycling through.
You're awfully
That's just
dodgy.
that Dave's gimmick is to give himself splendiferous nicknames. My gimmick is to wear a different hat every week and see if I get a reaction. So there you go.
Okay, can we have the definition of splendiferous?
I'll Google it while you talk.
Splendiferous. You
But
guys
I'll
have
shoot
never heard
first.
that? You guys have never heard splendiferous?
This is a sports talk show, Adam. We don't have 50-cent words on this show, man.
If something's splendiferous, it's like it's splendid and furous.
It's extraordinarily or showily impressive.
Okay, so I have extraordinary or expressive nicknames.
Nicknames for yourself, yes.
Okay.
That is accurate.
That's accurate. That's pretty accurate. Okay, so we're not here to talk about splendiferous words. We're here to talk about sports, and
Because
I
sports
think-
are splendiferous.
well,
They
yes,
can-
they are.
yes.
Yes, they can be. I think we're going to call this baseball's mid-season report, or we'll just cut it short, and we'll call this the Braves mid-season report. We're going to do a shorter show for you this week because we've got a couple of cool shows coming up that we're not going to tease just yet, just that we have something cool coming. So we're going to talk about the Braves, and then after our break, we're going to actually pick who we think will make out the American League and the National League All-Star games. Guys, y'all think that sounds fun today?
Works
Yeah.
for me.
All right. So the Atlanta Braves, none of us picked this team to be anywhere close to third or fourth in the National League East. Am I right?
Okay, I at least had them third.
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't either. I think I had them fourth. I think I had them below everybody else.
Yeah. Just above the Marlins. I think that's what we said.
Well,
We'll
go ahead.
We'll go back and check, but I'm pretty sure I had them third.
Okay. Well, as we sit right now, we're recording this on the night of the 20th of June. The Braves now have the second best record in the National League, guys. First place by 3 games in the National League East, and second best record in the National League behind the Chicago Cubs. Who saw this one coming?
Nobody.
Ben more than any of us, but I'd say overall, yeah, nobody.
Yeah,
My
nobody.
confidence has been rewarded.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this: every day that goes by, my confidence is getting higher in this team, but I'm still not letting myself get my hopes up because the Braves have crushed my dreams my entire life, basically. But this team, and I hate to say it, I hate to put this goal on this team. This team reminds me of the 1991 Braves. It's built kind of the opposite way, with batting first rather than pitching, but it is still built with mostly homegrown talent.
Well, and some of that I think is the sign of the times. It's still important to have good pitching, but good pitching is even harder to come by. And granted, the Braves pitching staff has outperformed this year, but we live in a time where it's all about hitting home runs, and the Braves have built a team that can play for extra base hits, and they've got guys that are hitting for average and guys that've got great slugging percentage.
Yeah, speaking of hitting slugging percentage, who would have also thought that Ozzie Albies would have 16 home runs and be leading the Braves right now?
Yeah.
Ozzie's your leadoff hitter.
Yeah. I don't want to jump ahead to too much of the All-Star talk, but I did read something, doing a little bit of research, where folks were actually saying that they can't stomach thinking that he's even on the ballot because he's been in, quote, a bit of a slump for the last year. And I'm like, hey, if that's a slump, I hope he doesn't come out of it soon, right? Yeah.
I will say my one kind of criticism about Ozzie Albies right now is he probably does not belong in the leadoff spot. He's hitting, his batting average is only 249 right now. If I want a perfect leadoff hitter, I don't want a guy that hits for power. I want a guy that slaps and just gets on base. So guys like Acuna or Freddie Freeman or #failure can get them over and get them in and get them over. By the way, if you don't know who #failure is, earlier before the season started, I called Nick Markakis a failure, and it's kind of stuck.
How's that working out, Dave? How's that working out?
Well, I can't change that now because I put that failure hex on him, and so I have to continue calling him a failure, right?
Nick Markakis, I believe, has the most career hits of any player who has never made an All-Star team. And so but it looks like that's going to finally change this season. He has moved up as one of the top outfielders in the All-Star balloting, and it looks like he may actually, I think he had a good shot of being picked by the coaching staff anyway to get in there, but it now looks like he's probably going to get in there on votes alone.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Dave, he has yet to hit a triple this year. That's the only goose egg he's got across all the major categories.
Okay.
So in that way, he's still a failure.
If you could just say he's a failure at hitting triples, that'd be great.
There you go.
He's a failure at hitting triples and a failure at hitting home runs. How's that?
He's hit a few home runs this year.
He's had 8.
He has 8.
Yeah.
He's had 8, and how many 20 home run seasons has he had? He hasn't had a 20 home run season in like 10 years. So he's actually on pace to have one of his best home run hitting seasons.
I'm pulling up his stats right now, see if I can find his overall stats.
I mean, home runs are nice, but I'll settle for doubles and hitting for average because that's paid off because there's almost always somebody on base ahead of him.
Yeah, that's true. I will say this: he has surprised me this year. I thought for sure that he was going to be traded by the end of this season, but now I think he's going to be one of those pieces that helps the Braves get into the postseason this year.
Well, one of the things I've heard that has really helped Markakis this year is they've actually worked on his swing and they've improved the launch angle. And that sort of thing has helped him get a little bit more power and, kind of hit to the alleys to get all these doubles that he's accruing. And that's a great example of how the Braves are kind of old school, but they're also kind of new school. They respect guys, they respect their craft, they let them do their thing. They let veterans like Markakis and Freeman kind of have this old school lunch pail mentality, but then they also use analytics to help these guys improve their swings and improve the pitch selection and all of that kind of stuff. So the Braves are like the perfect hybrid. They're playing baseball the right way, but they're also using some new metrics to help them get even better. And that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And I don't know. Ben, call me crazy, but
you're crazy.
Well, I understand that. Y'all are all going to call me crazy. But when the season started, I would have told you that I think the Braves needed a third baseman to really contend. But Johan Camargo has really come into his own as of late. I mean, he hit that grand slam yesterday on Tuesday in Toronto. And while he's not the best hitter, I think his fielding is one of the best at third baseman in the National League.
He's been a really great defensive third baseman. His bat seems to be coming around. But here's the thing. Ronald Acuna is about to come back, and when he does, the Braves have got to find a place for Charlie Culberson. So do you give Culberson a few starts at third base?
I don't think so. I think you let Culberson kind of be that guy off the bench, and that's kind of what he was best at when he was doing his late inning heroics.
But he's hitting home runs now on the reg. I think he doubled his career home run total just here in the first half of this season. I think he had something like 4 home runs coming in, and he's already hit 4 or 5 home runs this year. So at some point you got to figure out a way to get that bat in the lineup a little bit more frequently than that. Do you do double switches when you've got to make a pitching change and just kind of platoon there at third? Also, Alex Anthopoulos, the Braves GM, has said that the Braves are interested in Manny Machado.
No.
Look, you may not like it, but the GM did say he's interested, and the Braves have a ton of prospects stashed away, and you got to think, Machado can add even more pop than Camargo and Culberson. I think you've got to consider it. If Machado is still out there at the end of July, Anthopoulos said the Braves could be players. And so I think that's something you got to think about.
I tell you what, I don't like Machado, but I do like, this is what I heard something I like today. I like Machado as a player. I see that look you gave me, Ben. I like Machado as a player, but I don't like Machado on the Braves because he's going to be too expensive. I don't think the Braves need a true rental right now. That's going to cost that much to sign back. But one thing I did hear that does make a little bit of sense is the Rangers are possibly willing to part with both Cole Hamels and Beltre. Beltre to get a ring in right before he retires, and Nicole Hamels could be a start of the rotation type pitcher. I think that would be the trade that the Braves need to go in and make.
Yeah, I don't know though. I think that part of this team's gimmick, right? I think part of what they do is that they're doing things that no one ever thought they did, and they haven't needed a Manny Machado to do it. They've done it with the guys they've had, and I feel like at this point, with their 3 games in the lead, they're actually doing really well. If they start to slump, I could see you using it as a spark. But for me, it's just like when you look at these guys doing what they're doing without a guy like a Machado, I think that's what's doing it for them. That's the clubhouse feel. That's their motivation, is that they can. And when you look at Camargo and Culberson, I mean, their OBP is 354 and 320 respectively, and Machado is only at a 370 something. So, I mean, he's not going to get you a base runner that much more often. Maybe he gets more doubles, more triples, more home runs, but I think it's good to leave these guys as they are and just let them do their thing. And if it seems like they're not able to do it over the long run, then maybe you start looking at these guys. But I think saying that you're interested in Manny Machado is like a normal person saying I'm interested in reading a book. I would really love to read that book someday. I mean, everybody would love to have a Manny Machado on the team, but I don't feel like it's the right move right now.
Well, you say all that, but the thing is, with Machado in the Braves lineup, it changes the stat line for Machado and for the other guys, because you can't pitch around Freeman. Right now you can't pitch around Markakis, and if you put Machado in there as, say, the 5th hitter, you can't pitch around Machado. And so at that point, you've got to pitch to everybody else. So that improves the pitches that guys like Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna are seeing. It also improves the pitches that, whoever your catcher is that night, Suzuki or Flowers, it improves the pitches those guys are going to see. And if those guys are seeing even better pitches, it helps everybody out. So if you have a stronger bat, a guy that can really change things with some power, I think that makes a big difference. And, before the All-Star break, the Braves have got to play the Yankees in a 3-game series. And they've also got to play Milwaukee, that's not scared of hitting a home run. And I really think we could be singing a different song after playing some of these teams that have got a lot of pop in their bats. When July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, the Braves are playing the Yankees, the way the Braves are playing right now, that could very well be the matchup for the World Series. Not saying that's going to happen, no. But let's talk about it.
My heart could not handle that.
I don't think anybody could. And right now, as much as I want to believe the Braves could get revenge for an entire decade on the Yankees, right now the Braves don't have the home run power to be able to match the Yankees. And if July comes around and it's looking like the Braves and the Yankees are the best teams in their respective leagues, you've got to take a look at Machado and finding a way to get some more home runs into your totals, because the Braves have played great baseball. They've won some games by playing small ball, but you've also got to at some point have some. The Braves have had some games where they could use an extra run or two, and a guy that's a power hitter could really make a huge impact on the lineup.
See, if you think that you're going to have to play the Yankees in the World Series, I don't go after a power hitter. I go after a power arm. I go after somebody that can strike out these power hitters, so you can cancel out those runs. Somebody like a Cole Hamels. Why not?
Why not both? The Braves have got a ton of prospects, and you don't want to deplete your prospects, but why not get Machado and somebody like Hamels?
I don't want to get rid of all these prospects, because if we go asking the Orioles for Machado, they're going to say, okay, we got third baseman we want. Give me Alex Riley. I don't want to give up Alex Riley.
You don't Austin Riley. You don't give up don't give up Austin Riley for Manny Machado. That's not a trade you make. That's not a trade you make. But some of these other prospects that you could move around, I think they'd be worth shopping.
Well, I don't know. I'd almost say...
And the reason why you don't give up Austin Riley is because you're really renting Machado. You're not trying to sign Machado to a long-term contract. You're trying to get Machado to bridge the gap between now and a year or two from now when you actually call up Austin Riley. So you're not trying to keep Machado any longer than that. You really want him here for half a season or a season and a half, however much time he has left on his current contract. That's all you're trying to do, and then you either trade him or you let him disappear in free agency, and then you rely on the cheaper contract of Austin Riley. Machado's the bridge. He's not the substitution for Austin Riley.
And really, I just thought about it too. We're talking about the Braves trading for a shortstop. Manny Machado's been playing shortstop this year, and that's his position he says he wants to play in the major leagues.
Whatever. If he also wants to make it to the playoffs, and he plays third base. Like he can play third base for 3 months if it gives him a shot to play in the playoffs. He can get over it.
So what you're saying then, Ben, is we tell all the fans who have swallowed the semi-sweet, I won't call it bitter, but the semi-sweet pill of the last 2 seasons, that the farm system's going to get us through it. The farm system is our future. The farm system's generating talent where we'll never have to have another season like this again, because we're going to use them as trades. And they should be used as a tool sometimes like that. But the Braves fans have been sold that we will never have to go after a Manny Machado again, because we got a farm system to beat every other team. And we got people coming up that you're never going to have to look at anybody else again.
The Braves have got a great farm system, but if you want to compete this year, the Braves have got to make improvements. They are a very good team, but if they want to compete in the postseason, they've got to get even better. They've got to make some sort of trade to either improve the starting pitching staff or the bullpen, or bring in one more big bat. They've got to make at least one of those 3 moves, and the way you do that is by moving prospects. And that doesn't mean you move all the prospects, but you guys want to make comparisons to the teams of the 90s. The Braves traded prospects to get Greg Maddux. The Braves traded prospects to get Fred McGriff, these guys that made major contributions. And if you want to compete this year ahead of schedule, you got to make those trades. And you got to give up some of the prospects, because right now the Braves prospects are so good, they've got more than they can handle. And that's part of having a good farm system too, so you can make these moves when things are going better than expected.
I can see that, but I know the Braves gave, back in the past, the Braves gave up arms for Maddux. And hindsight's 2020. I don't think the Braves gave up that much for Maddux. In fact, I think Maddux was a signing. I don't think the Braves traded to the Cubs for him. So I don't think the Braves gave up anything for that. So when you look at who the Braves gave up in the past, those never really did matter. Now let's throw Teixeira out the park, because think about this: the Braves could have had Elvis Andres and Neftali Feliz, but Frank Wren was one of the worst general managers the Braves ever had, and I'm putting him worse than Copy. But I think that I don't want the
you can
Braves
say
giving up anybody.
you can say that. Look, Frank Wren did a lot of screw ups, and so did Coppola. I'm always going to blame Frank Wren for the Dan Uggla contract and for the Upton brothers contracts. Those are terrible. But the guys that are hitting the field today, Albies and Dansby Swanson, these kind of prospects, a lot of that's largely due to Frank Wren. So we can hate Frank Wren for some dumb mistakes, but we also got to give him credit because part of the rebuild of the farm system was something that he put in place.
Oh, I just don't want to give Frank Wren any credit because he's the one that also got us. What was the guy's name? Melky Cabrera in a Braves uniform. So
I didn't mind Melky Cabrera nearly as much as I minded Nick Swisher.
Oh gosh. Well,
So,
just a big shiver.
So if I can, so is this another hashtag failure moment where the Braves are not going to win a 7-game series against the best the AL has to offer, assuming we get that far? Ben Foster is saying that we will not win a 7-game series against the best the AL has to throw unless we pick up a player like a Manny Machado.
Depends on what your definition of the best the AL has to offer. The Braves don't match up well with the Yankees.
So Yankees, Red Sox, and Stros.
If the Braves are in a 7-game series with any of those 3 teams, Fan Me is obviously all for the Braves, but realistic baseball observer is going to say Braves don't stand a chance.
Okay.
And I love those Cinderella stories, those as much as anybody else. But right now the baby Braves aren't ready to hang with the big bats. The Braves are hitting well. They're playing well. Freddie Freeman looks like an MVP candidate. Ozzie Albies looks like an all-star. Nick Markakis looks like an all-star. But the Braves need a little something extra to be a World Series winning team.
So I just want that documented.
Yes.
okay.
Dave. What I really want is Dave to call them a failure. I like my. I've been the optimist, and the Braves have done well. I need Dave to declare failure and say the Braves won't make the playoffs, and then I'll feel good. Then I'll go put some money on the Braves winning the World Series.
It doesn't work that way, Ben. But I'll tell you what. You know what does work that way is hearing from our sponsors. So we're going to take a quick break. And you're going to hear from Brew Sport, the Brew Sport pouches that we've been telling you about for the last couple of weeks. So have a nice coconut smile. We'll come back after this break, and we are going to pick our National League and American League All-Star teams. We'll see you on the other side here on Sideline Morning.
Hey everybody, while we've got a quick second, I want to tell you again about our sponsor, Roosport, at theroosport.com, and the running pouches they make that clip to your waistband with magnets. I know we've talked in the past about our experience with the Dark Side Half Marathon. I'm actually training for my second half marathon with my new Roosport that I recently got, and I got to say, still love it. I'm able to really leave the house with just a pair of shoes, a Roosport, whatever I need to fit inside at my house, key my phone, and just go. I don't have to worry about taking a belt. I don't have to worry about anything being uncomfortable when I run. It holds what I need. It gets the job done, and it does it in a really comfortable way, which is not something you can say about a lot of running gear out there. And Dave, I know you recently got one. I don't know if you have any experiences you want to share.
Actually, I have been training with it since I got it a couple of weeks ago. Just last weekend, I went on a good long run. I went in it, threw some gels in it, threw my phone in it, didn't even feel the pouch. The only reason I knew it was there is because I felt my phone on my hip. Didn't move. The magnets made it stay right there on my belt loop. And honestly, it's the best thing I've ever had because, like I said a couple weeks ago, when I first started running at them, you told me to go get one of those belts that have the water bottles and the little fanny pack looking thing up front. And it just rode up and down when I started running. I didn't like it. It didn't feel comfortable. But this Roosport pouch, it really is. It's the best thing you can take when you're running.
Yeah, and we're about to actually go out to some theme parks coming up in the next week or two, and so I'm going to take it out for for a spin in a theme park, something completely different than running. So we'll let you guys know how that goes after we have that experience. So visit theroosport.com and take a look at their products. They've got multiple colors, multiple sizes to fit all kinds of phones, and find the one that's right for you, and that's theroosport.com. Go visit their website, take a look at their product.
Welcome back to the break, everybody. I hope you're as well rested as we are. I hope you've had that nice coconut smile that we always tell you to have while we are taking our break. But now it is time. We're going to skip over an entire segment. We're just going to skip and go straight into picks, because I think that it's time that we go ahead and pick the Midsummer Classic. We'll pick the American League team. We'll pick the National League team. We're going to go ahead and tell you who is going to be All-Stars. You don't even have to vote, because Sideline Warnings predicted it for you already. Guys,
our podcast has become so powerful that, just what we say goes now. But if you'd like to have the illusion of a democracy, go ahead and vote, because the voting ends on July 5th. And this is interesting, guys. They've changed up the rules kind of here in the last couple of years. You can vote up to 5 times every 24 hours. It used to be you could vote like unlimited, like in a 24-hour period. And you can have a total of 35 ballots now. And I think that's like a few years ago when Kansas City had a really good team. The Royals fans put like 12 Royals on there. And they just basically had like a whole bunch of like really passionate Royals fans go hit the refresh button like 1,000,000 times and put a lot of guys on the All-Star team that probably had no business being there. They had some guys that definitely did, but they probably got like 8 guys on the team when they really should have only had 2 or 3. So I think
if I remember correctly, that year the American League won anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, it worked out okay.
And while we're on the pre-show talk, the pre-voting talk, am I correct in thinking that this game doesn't mean anything anymore? It's not for home field advantage anymore?
It is not for home field advantage in the World Series now.
So what are they playing? What are the stakes in this now? Just for fun again?
Bragging rights, like they always have been.
I kind of liked when it meant something.
I didn't like when it affected the World Series.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Okay.
You shouldn't have a guy from the Florida Marlins, if he gets a hit or if he strikes out or makes a great catch in the field or misses a ball in the field, you shouldn't have that affecting the outcomes of teams that are actually going to make the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Playoffs
are fun.
We're talking playoffs? Okay. I just mixed my references up there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it. I believe the way y'all wanted to do this, which I think is crazy, but oh well, it's a democracy. I was outvoted. We're going to pick the catcher of the American League and then switch over to the National League. So we're going to go position by position, not league by league, correct?
We're going to go position by position as it appears on the ballot. So not catcher. We're going to start first with first base.
Well, let me fix my ballot. Hold up. You're the pick guru, Ben. So
we're just
start us off with the picks.
We're just following with the positions as they appear on the ballot, which you can find at mlb.com/all-star/ballot, or just go to mlb.com and click on the ballot. So first off, we've got first base. Let's talk American League real quick. Who do you guys like for this? Is there somebody in particular you'd like to see as the American League first baseman?
So just going down the list, I got either between Mitch Moreland or Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox or the Boston Red Sox. Abreu's got 11 home runs, 281 average, 42 RBIs. Moreland's got 276, 10 home runs, and 33 RBIs. I got to give it to Abreu.
Yeah, I don't know if for me it's just about the stats more than it is like I say, individual is one thing, but you look at what they are as a collective part of their team. I'd actually default more to Mitch Moreland with the way that the Red Sox have been playing. So I know that may not be a purist way of doing it, but that's how I'm thinking about that one.
Maybe it's just kind of residual effects of the World Series, but I'm kind of interested in Yuli Gurriel. He's batting 301. He only has 2 home runs on the season, but he's batting over 300. And there's not a lot of other first basemen that are hitting for average. So he's played on a proven winner, and he's actually the only guy on the ballot for the American League first base spot that's batting over 300. So I'll go with Gurriel from Houston.
Well, just for reference, my pick is leading the votes for the American League with just over 600,000. Adam's pick is second with almost 500,000, and Ben's pick is third with a little over 350,000.
See, Dave and Adam want to do what's popular. I want to do what's right.
Okay, to the National League.
So here's a place where I think we're all going to agree. National League first baseman.
1,
Freddie.
2, 3.
Freddie
Freeman. Yep.
And he is actually the National League leading vote getter right now. I believe he is over 1.4 million votes.
So it's really no contest that the three of us would like Freddie Freeman. He's having a great season. The rest of the country seems to agree with us. If Freddie Freeman wasn't on this ballot, who would you go with?
I'd probably say Goldschmidt.
Wow.
I think Goldschmidt's pretty tempting. That would be that'd be something I'd think about. Maybe Brandon Belt with San Francisco. He's batting over 300. You know, I like guys hitting for average, but he's also got 12 home runs. So he's hitting for average, but he's also got some pop. Doing okay on the RBI front as well. So maybe Brandon Belt, but probably leaning Goldschmidt just because I love his power.
Yeah, I was going to say Belt too. Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's go second base. Who do you guys like for this one?
So I've got between two players here. I'm going to go it's between Solarte or Torres. Solarte of the Toronto Blue Jays and Torres of the Yankees. Solarte has 15 home runs, 44 RBIs, hitting 260. But Torres is just tearing it up. He's a rookie, 14 home runs, 291 average, 35 RBIs, and that's not even a full year. So I've got to go with Torres.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go popular here and say Altuve with the Astros. I mean, I look at his batting average and just overall, I think he's having a better year.
All around, Gleyber Torres is probably the guy to go with. He's not, his batting average is not as good as Altuve, but overall, like his whole hitting plus the fielding, just the full aspect, he seems to be a really complete player. There's also a lot of hype around him. I think Torres is the pick most people would be interested in. I have a personal rule, though, that when I'm filling out a ballot, I don't pick any Yankees, so I've got to go with Altuve. I'm very biased about guys that hit for average. If you're batting over 300, if you're batting over 300 the first half of the season, I think you need to be strongly considered for the spot. So that's my other bias, is that, you know, I'm biased against the Yankees, but I'm also biased towards high batting average halfway through the season. So I'm really a fan of Altuve batting 341. He doesn't have as many home runs as he's had other seasons, but you know, I like that guy. So let's pick the National League. I think, again, this is where we're all in agreement, right?
Yeah. Albies.
No.
Oh, really?
So Dave and I,
No.
I'm with Dave. This is a strange occurrence. Dave and I are in agreement. We both think it should be Ozzie Albies. Adam, you're straying from the flock. Who do you think should be the second baseman?
I think Albies is going to have his years where he'll do it. I think this year, though, Javier Baez, I think, is just having a better year overall. I want to go with Albies. I think he's got more to show than he's shown this year. I think he'll get there, but I think this year it's Javier Baez.
Interesting. Dave, if you weren't going to pick Albies, would you go with Baez?
If Albies was not in the major league, I'd said Baez right now. But Albies is leading the Braves with 16 home runs as a second baseman. That's unheard of. Albies.
But if not Albies,
Torres or Baez.
You'd go with Baez.
Yes.
Can we give a little bit of love to Scooter Gannett with Cincinnati?
We can, but his name is Scooter.
Okay, Dave, who's your favorite Brave of all time?
Chipper.
Okay, so let's talk about Scooter again.
Larry. Larry.
Larry. All right.
The guy, look. The guy's batting .336. I told you I love good batting average, but he is by far the best hitting second baseman out there. He's got 13 home runs, so he's just one behind Baez and 3 behind Albies. I think you got to have a little bit of love for Cincinnati right here. He's the best player they've got. So I would say I'd be very tempted to pick Scooter there if I wasn't picking Ozzie. All right, let's talk shortstop. Who do you guys like in the American League?
I've got to go with that mad shortstop that Ben thinks is a third baseman, Manny Machado.
Yeah, I agree.
303, 18 home runs, 53 RBIs, and he's even got 4 stolen bases.
Just think what he could do for the Braves.
Nope, don't want him.
You don't want him?
I don't want to give up the farm for him.
I don't think you'd have to give up the farm. You're renting him for half a year. As a Braves fan, a little piece of me is looking there at Andrelton Simmons going, hey, you're not getting enough love in Los Angeles on the West Coast. So I miss old Simba, and he's actually having a good year batting average wise, batting over 300. Yeah, exactly. There
it is. You got him to sing.
Lift up some Simba here and put him in on your All-Star ballot.
No.
No.
All right, National League. No. Manny Machado.
All right, National League. So the first 2 National League votes, it was pretty easy to pick a Brave because they're having good seasons. Adam didn't go all out on the Braves, but he even thought Albies was a reasonable pick. Here at shortstop, Dansby Swanson seems to be less of a reasonable pick. Who is
second?
He's second in voting because the Braves across the board, the Braves fan base is so enthused, they're giving love to Swanson. So is Swanson the guy to go with here, or would you go with somebody else?
I'm actually going to go with somebody who's actually 4th in voting, so he won't make it. Trevor Story, 271, 16 home runs, 56 RBIs, and 9 stolen bases. The kid's a beast.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I'm not mad at you at all for that. I don't know why Addison Russell is 3rd, but I got to go with Brandon Crawford. I got to go with the herd on that one.
Yeah, I would go with Brandon Crawford. If I think in my real ballot, I'm putting Dansby Swanson in because I think the Braves are going to be in the postseason, and I want to have a lot of these guys just shown love now. Because I think they're putting in good work. So I'm voting mostly for Braves in almost every spot. But realistically, I think Brandon Crawford's the good pick to go here at 315 batting average, 8 home runs. That's pretty good. All right. So far in the National League, at least 2 of us have always agreed. All right, let's talk third base, a spot Manny Machado is capable of playing. And by the way, the ballot does allow write-ins, so you could vote for whatever shortstop you want and write in Manny Machado in for third base. I believe Alex Rodriguez and Cal Ripken Jr. flipped out at short and third a little bit before, so you could definitely move some guys around in a perfect world. Who do you like for third base in the American League?
Cleveland's Jose Ramirez, 291, 22 home runs, 50 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases. No one's close.
Yeah, I want to go Jose, but I like going down towards the bottom of this one. Can't even say why. My gut just says someone like a Beltre. I think I would actually pick him.
Just kind of like this, the Chipper pick. It's his last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a Lifetime Achievement Award, and that's definitely what I've been thinking is give Adrian Beltre the Lifetime Achievement Award. He's definitely made it on the All-Star team before, but he's pretty deserving of another appearance, especially this year batting .312 and having 22 RBIs. That's nothing to sneeze at. So I think that's pretty interesting. Hey, also, if Texas is wanting to deal some pitchers, any chance they would just add Beltre to the mix?
That's what I've been saying. Beltre and Hamill come to Atlanta.
It's not terrible.
And we don't need a shortstop named Machado.
So I thought you were saying Texas would send a couple of pitchers over. Hamill's another pitcher. Okay.
Hamill's and Beltre.
All right. So let's talk National League third baseman. Who do you like here? I mean, we praised Johan Camargo earlier in the show, but I don't think that Camargo is really all-star material, is he?
Well, he's not in my eyes. He is third in vote getting, behind Arenado and Bryant. But I am stuck between Eugenio Suarez of Cincinnati or Nolan Arenado. Suarez is 295, 15 home runs, and 54 RBIs. Arenado is 311, 14 home runs, and 45 RBIs. I'm actually going to give my vote to Suarez because he actually bats in more runs than Arenado. So Suarez gets my pick.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say Suarez too.
Really? I got to go with Nolan Arenado here. I think in most cases, again, my personal ballot, I'm actually giving Johan Camargo the benefit of the doubt, but really Nolan Arenado is the guy here. 45 RBIs, 14 home runs, batting .311. He's doing it in all the categories. He's also got a great glove and a great arm. If you want the National League to play good defense, Nolan Arenado is a great pick you could put there in the hot corner. So that's where I'd go. I'd give Colorado an all-star. All right, let's talk catcher now. Who would you guys go with for your American League catcher?
I am going to go against what I thought I'd say. I mean, the normal pick, people would say, oh, it's got to be Sanchez, Gary Sanchez. But he's only hitting 190 this year. He might be leading catchers and home runs with 13. But I'm going to go with Wilson Ramos of Tampa Bay, 290, 9 home runs, and 36 RBIs.
You almost forget Ramos is there because
right.
Watching the Nationals in some recent games, I was like, hey, whatever happened to Ramos? Is he still even around? And you just completely forget that he's in Tampa Bay because that's what happens when you go to the Tampa media market.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I agree. I think he's been a standout for them this year. I was going to say Ramos too.
I'll go ahead and make it a third. I think go with Wilson Ramos. All right, let's talk National League catchers. Who do you want donning the tools of ignorance for the National League?
So I'm looking at the top 5 vote getters for the National League, and the guy I'm voting for isn't even in the top 5. Top 5, you have Buster Posey, Wilson Contreras, Kurt Suzuki, Yadi Molina, and Yasmani Grandal. But let's go look at stats. JT Realmuto, 297, 9 home runs, 27 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. He's not even in the top 5 for catchers, and he's leading almost every category in statistics. JT Realmuto needs to get some love.
The problem is he's in Florida. It's the same situation as Ramos. He's in Florida, and nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, he plays for the Marlins. I just can't. Just can't. Not with the season they're having, not because they're here close in. It's almost the same thing as the Yankees rule for me. I would either look at Kurt Suzuki or Molina in this case. And my Braves fan hat's going to go on and actually give it to Kurt Suzuki in this case.
Does Kurt Suzuki actually have more games than Tyler Flowers?
I believe so. Yes, because Flowers was hurt at the beginning of the season.
I think if not for that injury, you actually probably have Flowers as the default Brave there. On the ballot, and I think that kind of changes things because I think whoever the default Brave is on the ballot gets all of those votes. I think Suzuki and Flowers are pretty interchangeable. So the Braves fans that are voting like a straight Braves ticket would show that love to Tyler Flowers.
But it's actually Suzuki's the one on the ballot. He's third in vote getting.
Right, but I think if Tyler Flowers was on the ballot instead of Suzuki, Flowers would be third in vote getting. That's what I'm saying. So I think they're interchangeable, and so I think Suzuki just has the benefit of having more games, and that's really helping him out there. That's not a knock on Kurt Suzuki, but I got to go with you guys. JT Realmuto is the guy. He's the best catcher in the National League by most measures, and he's young, he's athletic, he's the future. I would have loved to have seen a scenario where the Braves could have pried him away from the Marlins, but they were asking way too much for him.
Ryan Acuna.
So yeah, and so if not Realmuto, I'd be interested in Yasmani Grandal to vote for, but Realmuto is going to get my vote outside of showing love to the Braves. All right, there is a designated hitter position on the ballot for the American League and the American League only.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anybody you want to vote in?
I'm going to say J.D. Martinez. I mean, that's hands down. 317, 22 home runs, 55 RBIs.
Yeah. Yankees and Red Sox. Oh, crap. Give it to Gaddis, man. I just can't do it.
Oso Blanco.
I do love some Evan Gaddis, but if you're voting really for who's the all-star, the best player here in this consideration, you got to go with Martinez.
Yeah.
All right, outfield. We gotta come up with 3 players for the outfield. So guys, in the American League, who would you go with?
Don't make me say his name.
You got to say it, Dave.
I'm going to say it anyway. Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and Aaron Judge. I'm not going to give you stats. That's just straight down the ticket. That's who I'm going with.
Well, there's nobody else you'd even consider. You're just getting it out to get it out of the way.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's your 3 best outfielders in the game right now.
Yeah.
Minus 1.
I mean, there's not much I can do to argue against that. I'm trying to pick a dark horse, but there's not anybody. I would say those 3.
Yeah, I gotta go with Mookie Betts. I like the Red Sox enough that probably in at least a few of my ballots, I just voted for the 3 Red Sox that are right there at the very top of the outfield ballot: Benintendi, Betts, and Bradley Jr. But Jackie Bradley Jr. is batting under 200.
Yeah, really, he's not good.
You really shouldn't be giving him any love. So out of those 3, you gotta give Mookie Betts some love. Let me see who else. There were a couple of other people on here that I thought were at least somewhat interesting. How about it's Adam Jones in Baltimore? Since the game's in Washington, D.C., it'd be great to get a few Orioles on the team, right?
Nah.
He's batting 291.
We gave him Machado.
Nah.
He's batting
Machado.
You give him a couple more. He's batting 291. He's got 10 home runs, 31 RBIs. That's not too shabby. I think he's worthy of at least a consideration for your vote.
Okay, participation award goes to him then.
Naquin with Cleveland's batting 315. I think that's worth your consideration. Rosario in Minnesota is batting 316, and he's got 16 home runs and 46 RBIs.
Do you really think anyone's going to beat out Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and Aaron Judge, though?
I'm not predicting who's going to win. I'm talking about people that are worthy of the vote. Because Mike Trout's obviously in there. I just don't want to vote for Judge. I don't want to vote for anybody at a Yankees uniform. So I'm just giving I'm giving the listeners some options because I feel like a lot of our listeners have a similar distaste for the Yankees as we 3 hosts have. So Mike Trout and Mookie Betts, I think those are great. But I think there's a few other options out there for that 3rd spot if you wanted to look around. So just letting you know. All right, those are the picks there for the outfield. We've got 3 National League outfielders to go with. Who do you guys like?
So I'm going to go with #failure, of course.
Nick Markakis.
Yes, 323, 8 home runs, 44 RBIs. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with probably the comeback player of the year. One Matt Kemp, 322, 12 home runs and 43 RBIs. And then I'm going to go with probably who's going to win the popular votes. Even though he's only batting 213, he is leading the National League with 19 home runs.
Juice.
The worst hair in baseball, even though he's cut his beard off. One Bryce Harper.
Mr. Double Hair Dryer himself.
Yes. That's a clown question, bro.
So I would say Markakis and Harper, I think they round out your top 2. I think you could make a pretty strong case for Blackmon to edge out Kemp if you're looking at it from the standpoint of stats and performance. I think that past those 4, I think you're having to go all the way down to Kyle Schwarber before you're finding anybody else that would be worthy of being on the roster. So really? I'm actually going to go Markakis, Harper, and Blackmon. Even though I think Kemp will get the vote, I think Blackmon should get the spot.
Let's just point out real quick that I'm looking at the top 10 for our vote getters in the outfield. The Braves hold number 1, 5, and 6. Yeah. Braves Nation has come out strong in voting this year.
You put a good team on the field, the fans get passionate. Well, I'm with you guys. Markakis has got to be in the mix. A career year for him. So you got to put Markakis out there. I presume he's number one in outfield votes right now. That's right?
He is
almost
almost 1.2 million.
Yep.
Now, Bryce Harper, we're here at the end of the ballot. Let's talk about Bryce Harper. What is the goal of the All-Star ballot? This is the age-old question, and we haven't even addressed it yet. Is the goal of the All-Star ballot to award stars, celebrities, or is the goal to award people that are having really good seasons?
That's the problem when you open it up to fan vote.
Yep.
I think the initial point of the All-Star game was great seasons. But when you put it open to fan vote, you just get names out there.
It's American Idol for baseball.
Right,
This
exactly.
is Bryce Harper's worst season. Harper is not worthy of being on the team, but it's in his stadium. He is one of the biggest stars in the game. So if it's the all-star game, you got to put Harper in, especially in his home stadium. But I'm not going to vote for Harper because I don't think he's earned it. The managers have the ability to pick players, so let the managers pick Harper and put him in, not let him get a vote. I think Charlie Blackmon, I'm with you, Adam. I think Charlie Blackmon's pretty well deserving. I love the way he plays. I think if you're not giving Odubel Herrera with Philadelphia a look, the Phillies have had some ups and downs. They'll win 7 or 8 out of 10, and then they'll lose 6 or 7 out of 10. But Odubel Herrera has been pretty consistent for them. He's been one of their best players. He makes great plays in the field, and he hits well. He's batting .299. He's got 12 home runs. It's not often you're going to have a center fielder that's hitting for average and power, and he's got 3 stolen bases. He's got a little bit of speed, and he's got a good glove. He is a well-rounded player, and I think deserving of some All-Star votes. So Odubel Herrera, I think we gotta give a tip of the hat to. Dave's going to be mad at me, but I've got to be a little bit of a homer here and say I think Ender Inciarte deserves some votes. He's got
votes, yeah. I can get behind voting for him. Yeah.
He's got a great glove. He's got a great glove. He is a Gold Glove center fielder, and at some point we've got to get away from the All-Star ballot rewarding these guys have their batting average here next to their names. And we've got to get away from rewarding guys just on hitting and recognize that guys with good gloves and good feet are also an important part of the game. And Inciarte makes great catches in the field. He covers a lot of ground. Even though Dave's called him slow, I think Inciarte is worthy of some votes, and that's not just me being a Braves homer. Matt Kemp is very tempting too. I think that's good. If you were really wanting to stretch, I think Marcell Ozuna is somebody that's worthy of some votes. And there's a few other guys out there, but I think there's plenty of room if you're trying to find a reason to not vote for Bryce Harper. I think there's enough options out there for you to get 3 picks without picking Harper.
Okay. All right. Now, we can't vote for this, but just off the top of your head, who is the starting pitcher for the American League? Who's the starting pitcher for the National League?
National League's easy. National League's easy. It's Scherzer. It's his.
Scherzer.
It's his stadium, and he's the best.
Well, but who? Let's see. Who was the National League manager? I forget who won the World Series last year. Wow. You guys, help me out here.
Dave, are you really that bad off that you can't remember?
Yeah, the Braves didn't make it, so I didn't care.
Dave was completely checked out.
It was the Dodgers and the Astros. Now I remember.
So you got Dave Roberts doing all these picks,
and Kershaw's hurt, so he can't pick Kershaw.
So
anyway.
by the way, if with Dave Roberts as the manager, Matt Kemp's making this All-Star team, whether he's voted in or not. Matt Kemp's making the All-Star team. But Kershaw's hurt, and it's in Washington. Even if you're Dave Roberts, don't you start Scherzer and bring in if Kershaw was healthy, you'd bring Kershaw in later. Scherzer's got to get the start in DC.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's Scherzer.
Yep, totally agree.
American League, though, I don't think it's so cut and dry. I don't even know.
You don't think Verlander by a mile?
Not by a mile. I think it's Verlander, but I don't think it's by a mile.
I think Verlander's worthy of consideration, but I think you've also got to really consider Corey Kluber. He's having a great season. He had this long, lengthy stretch of games without any walks that was ended last week. So I think you really got to think about Corey Kluber there. And I think right now Verlander he's having one of the best seasons of his career, but he's the flavor of the week because Houston's on the top of the pile.
Yeah, well, I thought Kluber. I thought he was in Cleveland.
He is.
Okay. Oh, Houston. Never mind.
But you're saying Verlander.
Verlander's in Houston, so he's the flavor of the week.
Yes.
He's having a great season, but he's getting the boost by being a Houston guy.
Sorry, misunderstood you. So there you go. There's our picks for the All-Star teams. Go ahead and write it down. And before we give you our sideline warnings, I'll do like I did last week. I'm going to give you our socials here so you can have it right here in the middle and you don't scroll through accidentally at the end and miss it. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/sideline warning. You can also join our Facebook fan group, Sideline Warning fan group, Facebook fan group, easy to find. Ask to join. We'll invite you in. We have some sports talk there. Adam and I banter. Ben doesn't get on Facebook that much. We need to get him started working on Facebook a little bit more. Twitter, at SW The Show. You can follow me, at D Adams. Follow Ben, at The Ben Foster. You can follow Adam, at Runtide Run. But like Ben doesn't do Facebook, Adam doesn't do Twitter. But we're going to get him.
But we got you covered somewhere.
Yeah, just find us. And then Instagram, we are SW The Show there as well. Also, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, you can call the show. We have a Google Voice line. Adam, what's that phone number?
931-44-BLITZ. That's 931-44-BLITZ.
There you go. So you've got our picks. You've got our socials. Hit us with the sideline warning there, Ben Foster.
All right, this has been a fully loaded baseball edition of Sideline Warning, and so I just want to keep that streak alive by pointing out two fun baseball things just for my Sideline Warning. First off, I want to give some huge kudos to Wade LeBlanc, former Alabama baseball pitcher, last week in a game for the Seattle Mariners, who are having a great season as a team, and also who we didn't have a lot of All-Stars for, despite being a good team. Wade LeBlanc retired 22 straight pitching against the Red Sox. And so the Red Sox are a pretty fearsome lineup, but he retired 22 straight. So great to see Wade LeBlanc back in Major League Baseball and pitching well and having a great night like that. Hopefully there will be some more nights like that. So while we're praising one guy for a great performance, I want to also point out a guy who should be shunned for a very negative performance, and that's Giants closer Hunter Strickland. After a recent blown save, he decided to also take BS to a new level and also mean busted season because he punched a door and broke his pitching hand. If you must punch something, please punch with your glove hand. Don't punch with your pitching hand. Don't punch with the moneymaker. Don't do that. Don't screw up your season. Don't screw up your career. And most importantly, don't screw up your team's season. The Giants right now are at 493. They're trying to get over 500 in a very winnable National League West. The Giants have gotten Madison Bumgarner back. They've gotten other guys healthy. They're trying to get their season going. And right at the point when they're going to need a closer, what does their closer do? He loses a game, and then he loses his cool, and now he's going to lose 6 weeks. That's unacceptable. Act like a professional. Lock it up and don't let your team down. So kudos to Wade LeBlanc and Hunter Strickland. You got to get your act together.
I agree. Adam, hit us with yours.
Yeah, we'll keep the baseball talk rolling, and I'm sorry for being repetitive, but I got to go back to something we talked about, or I talked about last week, because Dave tweeted, I may not post on Twitter, but I read on Twitter. And someone posted a picture of themselves at a Major League Baseball game. They took the picture, and then I liked what they were pointing out on the post, that the guy actually took a picture during an at-bat, but posting it now that the Nets go all the way past the dugout, that their father only brought him to a baseball game and sat in foul territory when their son could pay attention, and that the wussification of America continues because we put nets up at ballparks. And I have to say it again, guys, it's going to be short and sweet, but we have to do something. Baseball players are stronger. Baseball is a much more social game. people don't have the same attention span they did. Whatever the reason is, there's got to be something. I've got a buddy who I was at that game with in Vegas that has posted a picture. He loves to go to minor league ballparks, and he's posted a picture from 2 other ballparks. And in one situation, the net was good. In the other one, right in front of his seat in the front row, the nets came together, but there was probably a 3-inch wide gap, just wide enough for a foul ball to squirt through in that section. And so it's like that there has to be a consistent method. There has to be an approved method. And I think there even need to be, just like in NASCAR, you don't put the fence up, and it has to meet certain requirements. The safer barriers have to meet certain requirements. I think this needs to start doing the same thing. And because people see it as a quote-unquote wussification of America, it just makes me that much more fired up about it. So I had to bring it up again. This will be the last time it's in the new UCF. But I wanted to make sure that I brought it up again.
Go. All right, so I'm going to stop the baseball talk here at the last second. I'm sorry.
Buzzkill.
Well, we tried, everybody. Sorry.
We tried.
And baseball's my sport, but I'm going to do 2 things. One is I'm going to yell at somebody, and 2, I'm going to say, a quick rest in peace.
I'm sorry, don't yell at me.
Okay, no, it's not you. It's one Terrell Owens.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Owens, you were elected to the highest honor in your profession. It wasn't your first time on the ballot, but it was your second year on the ballot. They said, you know what? We're going to welcome you into the gold jacket. We're going to make you a bronze bust in Canton, Ohio, and we're going to let you come and give a speech about your career and put you in the Hall of Fame. But because of your pride, because of your stupidity, because of your haughtiness, because of your, what's that word again, Adam, that you used at the beginning of the show?
Splendiferosity.
Is splendiferosity. He has told the writers and the NFL and the fans, stick it up your rear. He is not going to go to Canton. He's not going to say anything about the Hall of Fame. He's not going to give a speech. And to be honest with you, if I'm the NFL Hall of Fame, I say, you know what? Never mind. We don't want you anyway. If you don't want to be up there around your peers because you think you were a first ballot Hall of Famer and you weren't voted that way, you're a big crybaby. Take your ball and go home. I'm sorry, T.O. You don't belong in Canton with that mentality. So my sideline warning is Terrell Owens, either take your ball and go home or show up in Canton and put that gold jacket on with the rest of them. And then my final sideline warning is I'm going to bring wrestling back into the show. And this is a little foreshadowing because there's going to be some other wrestling talk in the coming weeks with a certain guest. I'm not going to tell you who, but in the coming weeks we will be talking wrestling on Sideline Warning. Today being the June 20th, as we are recording, this morning I was awoken to the news that one of the, I guess, pioneers of wrestling in the 80s and 90s passed away. He was only in his late 50s. He was only 63, I'm sorry. But Big Van Vader, Leon Allen White. To you that don't watch wrestling, he was a father in Boy Meets World. I can't remember whose dad he was. He was one of the Bullies' fathers, I think. But he was one of the fathers in Boy Meets World. You would recognize him. He wore a mask on his head. Great wrestler in WWE or WWF at the time, WCW. He died of congestive heart problems and pneumonia. There will never be another Vader. He looked mean, but he was a lovable guy. Rest in peace, Van Vader. Leon Allen White, rest in peace. There you go. That's all of our sideline warnings. You've heard our baseball talk. I think the episode's going to be called Talking Baseball. We're going to bring back that old song, Talking Baseball tonight. There is your sideline warning for the week of June 20th, episode 30. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next show. Roll Tide.
that one. I'm just kidding.
There's your.
No. To that I say nay, nay, Fluffy.
It's so fluffy!
Okie dokie.
Are we still recording, Benjamin?
We have started recording again.
That's splendiferous.
Look, he's using the words.